The Matrimaniac is an American film that was released in 1916. I had a hard time trying to find information on this film, such as the reception, what anyone had to say about it at the time, production. I couldn't find anything. If you have information on this film, please flood the comments. The only thing I could find was Douglas Fairbanks is in it, and it's directed by Paul Powell. That's it. As well as that Constance Talmange is in it. Now, as for the premise, um, you have a couple who's trying to elope. Uh, Douglas Fairbanks, who plays Jimmie, as well as Constance, who plays Marna. And they are sneaking out of the house of her father's home. It starts off with Jimmie cutting the tires of the father's car. And so they're trying to get out of the house. It then cuts to the promised man, and in the living room, you know, the father and the promised are going around in the living room and they know something's up. And Jimmie and Marna are able to sneak out and they're driving to the train station and they almost make it. I mean, they're at the train station, they're in the train, but the betrothed are in the he's in the train with them. And they end up in the next city, in the next county, I think it is. They're in the next county, and Jimmie is trying to get a minister to marry them off. And so he jumps off the train, gets the minister, but Jimmie and the minister don't make it. And it just ends up in this whole one thing after another. We've seen this formula before, and but it's with Douglas Fairbanks. And it was a common thing in the silent era. You know, Buster Keaton did it, Harold Lloyd did it. We saw it with some of the uh films. Oh, who was it? The Greek film, and the name is escaping. And I mean, depending on who it is, it's absolutely hilarious. Now, I had to look it up, and this is 4 years before Douglas Fairbanks went into his swashbuckling and very energetic. So this was leading up to that because 4 years later he did Mark of Zorro, and then 2 years after that he did um, Three Musketeers. So, and some of his films are starting to lead up to him becoming more energetic. So this was the starting point, or maybe there were some films before that. I was looking and they didn't seem like it. I would have to watch them. So I would have to say that he was inspired by his fellow actors. And of course, Mark of Zorro was where his career changed. So 4 years later, after this, is where it really changed. Me personally, not his best. Not his best film. And I did see where somebody said that this film inspired them to watch his other films. And yeah, I have to agree with that. If you had never seen a Douglas Fairbanks film, that's a perfect description, quite honestly. It's not terrible. It's a cute story for what there is. You know, the idea of the this couple trying to elope, the 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 Jimmie trying to get back to his beloved and everything. So, yeah, I wouldn't say that it's terrible. I've seen the formula before. We've all seen the formula before in a lot of these silent movies. But again, looking at it, looking at the timeline, 4 years later, his career really shifted. because he did Mark of Zorro. And I agree with that one reviewer who said that this inspired her to watch other Douglas Fairbanks movies. So anyway, this is The Matrimaniac. It's an American film. It was released in 1916.